I have recently began participating in an adult softball league, and it is insane how much of a toll it takes on your body just to play softball. I used to play baseball when I was young, but there is a whole thing that's going on here that will be of value to you, I hope, at some point. It's not the sprinting from base to base. It's not the not being able to catch a ball. It's not the avoiding a ball as soon as they're like somebody hits the line drive. I'm not the one. I'm not Ozzie Smith. I'm not going to stop that ball. But what happened was I immediately went to the plate and I hit the ball, and I was like, oh, look at that. Oh, I should run. And I ran to first base. And I had a flashback to when I played baseball as a kid. And there's a lot of emotions with this, so this might get a little bit teary, but I don't know. We'll see. And I remembered my coach saying, Tucson, you gotta start running. As soon as you hit that ball, just start running. Boom. Just get going. And a lot of other things popped up because it was a time in my childhood when I was felt very alone, and was learning the early aughts of being a highly sensitive person. And there's really no handbook for it, so I was just like, well, I guess I'm just out here crying in the middle of a baseball game, and everybody else seems like totally fine. So I did a lot of things as a kid that were not entirely acts of wanting to be a teammate, but they were acts of wanting to feel a part of something. Because emotionally, when you feel entirely detached, you want to feel like you're a part of something. You want to feel that you're not entirely alone in this world. You're not entirely an alien to what's going on and how this is working. And there was an incredible amount of isolation felt in that. And I found myself, we were up by one, and then the other team, in this softball game, we were up by one, and then this team tied it, and I got these emotions in me. I was like, oh my God, I can't lose. And I immediately thought, this is not really high stakes. They're only as high as you make them. I mean, the people are in the World Series, they got, millions of people watching, the stakes are, the impact is there. But this is a softball game that nobody's watching. We're like in the middle of a park that nobody's around. So why did I all of a sudden feel this intense urge for us to win? We got to win. We can't lose. And I remember back being a kid, and for kids this is tough. Losing is really, really tough. Because you feel like your identity has taken a hit when you lose something. And they tied the game, and I said to myself, oh, I was in a state of wanting to be validated, wanting to prove that I am enough. Because if we lose this game, I'm not enough. If we lose this game, I'm not valid. If we lose this game, I'll be abandoned. If we lose this game, all these things can happen. Oh man, that's tough to say out loud. And as a kid, I'll get into it later on, but as a kid, there was so much going on in my life, and there was these things that were entirely foreign that I didn't understand at the time. And I wanted to prove that I was somebody, that I mattered. And as an adult playing the game, it was so remarkable because I was able to, apply all the tools that you learn about in therapy and whatnot, and recognize that you're in a pattern, you're in a traumatic response, and whatever it may be, and you're able to, oh, this is where I am. I'm already valid. I already am enough. I'm enough right now. I don't need to do anything. I can walk off this field and be enough right now. Still be enough. And that was. That was a big thing. 'Cause it was this, memory that was like tucked away. Didn't know about it. It was just, oh, here this is. Total flashback. I had another flashback like that when I was on tour in Houston, Texas. And I saw in a park, there was a red little red train that the kids ride on, and it, boom, brought me right back to New Orleans in my childhood. They would have these little red trains, or these little trains that would go around the park. And I started just like seizing up, and I was like, oh God, where's this coming from? Oh, bringing you right back to your childhood, where many things were either you're valid or you're not, you're abandoned or you're loved. There's black and white thinking all throughout, with perceivable black and white circumstances. And I remembered why I was there. And I don't know if we'll get into the 1, 2, 3 of this, but there's a story here that I'm already telling you. I got into the reason why I was there. It was because a dear friend asked me to show up and be a part of this softball league. And this friend is near and dear to me, like very near and dear. And I thought of this quote that this video is about, is ask yourself, is this an act of love? Oh, this is so tough. Is this an act of love, or is this an attempt to be validated or prove that you're enough? And of course, it's an act of love. I'm here out of love for the homie. I'm showing up to the softball league. And I was honored that they'd even asked me to be a part of it. And I just thought back to all the things. Sheesh, this is way more emotional than I thought. All the things were acts of validation, or wanting to be validated, or proving that you're enough. When we get into a mode of already knowing that we're enough and that we are valid, we can give, we can serve, we can serve ourselves as well. And we're not in this constant state of being an emotional sieve, or this emotional hourglass where we're always being depleted and we have to flip it to feel full again. We can be in a state that is full, that is an act of self-love, that is an act of self-recognition, that we have selfhood. Love this new word, selfhood. I'll tell you where I got it from later on, but I love the word, that we have identity, that we have presence, we have power, we are already valid. There's no question about it. We are already enough. We're already enough. We're already loved. And to be in that moment and recognize that past part of me, and this is where this comes to you, who is that version of yourself, that younger version of yourself, that was maybe not able to discern between, is this an act of love, or is this an act to be validated and prove that you're enough? Who is that version of yourself? And the next step is, what can you say to them? To let them know that they're already enough. And I had that whole moment on a field in softball, and stepped off, and then, took a moment in my car to recognize that as well. And it's a lot. It's a lot. And I think it's always, and here's the big thing. It's never a one and done. Like, therapy is never just, oh, we made it. We figured it out. Marriage is not, yes, we jumped the broom and now we're here, we signed the contracts, this is all done. It is always a work in progress. That is the phenomenal thing about being human, is that you are always working towards being the highest version of yourself. You're always working with that higher self. And those are just the terms of life. You have to live life on life's terms. You can't sidestep it. You can't shimmy the universe. The universe gonna shimmy you. So it's really what happened is that it's always happening. It was a recollection that it's always happening. It's like, oh my goodness, I thought I hemmed this up. Why am I out here in this field damn near tears now? It's because you're a human and you're already enough. You're whole, you're loved, and you will be processing your life and, in my opinion, processing past versions of yourself all the time. And it's just part of carrying the burden of being alive. I wouldn't say burden, it's carrying whatever you want to call it. It's just carrying life. And that was a big thing. Is this an act of love, or is this an attempt to be validated and prove that you're enough? And this video was supposed to be about, okay, what is an act of love? But I really think this is about recognizing that you are more than valid, and you are already loved, and you are already enough. And what can you say to past versions of yourself about that? Not solve it, or, they're there. We're all good. It's more so, what would you say to them? What can you say to them? Can you take some time in meditation and talk about that? Can you take some time to yourself when you wake up or before you go to bed and talk about that? Like, just think to yourself and just ruminate on that. I think that is something of value to do, is to speak to the past version of yourself that could not discern between an act of love or compassion and an attempt to be validated or prove that they're enough. And I think that's important. And that's the thing that happened to me while I was in that moment. I was immediately, responding to, that child version of myself and telling them, who cares if you don't get this line drive? Girl, I'm moving out the way. I am keeping my face, okay? I'm keeping my thumb. There was this grounder that got hit to me, and I tried to reach for it, and it just nicked my thumb. And I was just like, no, I'm not twisting this thing back. We're not doing that. I'm lifting weights, I'm running, I'm doing pull-ups, but I'm not doing I'm not doing that, bro. And so I think that's a powerful thing to recognize, and then build that line of communication to the past version of yourself and talk about that. So I don't really got much more for this. That's me bearing my heart on this. But I hope that this video was of value to you. In what way it was of value, let me know in the comments, because I really stepped off the game plan here and just went full streamline of consciousness on what this meant and how powerful that moment was in the field and continues to be. So yeah, let me know what that meant to you in the comments, and if there's anything else you want me to cover in these other videos. But that is that for today. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you got something out of it. We will definitely see you in the next one.